This is Mark Richardson from Pitchfork. I'm talking to Animal Collective, and the lovely sounds of Flea Foxes are playing behind us, so don't mind the noise. I wondered if you guys could just introduce yourselves first.
I'm Dave, Avey, Tare in the band.
I'm Brian, I'm Geologist.
And I'm Noah, Panda Bear.
All right. Now, you guys saw last night was the Don't Look Back feature here, where the three bands played albums in their entirety. Could you ever see Animal Collective doing something like that?
Yeah.
It'd be tough. For a lot of records, I think it'd be impossible because things have been stolen or lost or recorded over in terms of samples and things like that. But if we did it, we'd probably do it like the way we play old songs now, where it's reworked. And I don't think that's the point of that concert series anyway, so who would want to see it?
How much of what you played tonight will people have heard before on a record?
Quarter of it, maybe less.
I think the sets we're playing now, probably, somebody brought it up to me, I hadn't even thought about it, but are kind of like the most, include the most of our catalog in a way, song-wise, just that it spans like the greatest amount of time, because we're capable of playing songs from a lot of our records now at this point, but.
With the first couple of years playing in New York, it was almost always the same group of friends of our friends at the show to see us play, so I think we started to feel like we should have new songs for them to hear rather than just the same set. So I feel like we kind of got in this cycle of always playing or wanting to play new songs for people.
I don't know, I think we like to think of it as like a combination of like sort of a DJ set and maybe something like the Grateful Dead or like Pavement, you know, like bands that we like that included a lot of improvisation in their sets, but you know, would mesh songs together also in the way that a DJ would or an electronic musician would.
And it's closer for us to the DJ kind of thing these days with the samples and stuff, more like crossfading, you know. None of us can really solo anyway.
You guys all like the Dead?
Yeah. Dave and I saw them.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, a bunch of times when we were younger. Yeah.
You would have been young, right?
I was 14 or 15 maybe. It was right before he died.
Right. Yeah, that was something that I was going to ask you about. You know, there'll be this long segue, and then you'll hear this hint of the next song coming, and then that like builds that excitement.
Yeah, and it definitely, I think, comes from listening to that stuff as kids. And
the segues thing, probably, I think it just started because we wanted to have our shows build on energy and just become this thing that started and just finished somewhere else. When we first started playing, we wouldn't stop at all, but we would only play for 20 minutes or so. So I think just getting used to that, you know, and sort of learning how to play live that way. Now it just that's what we're comfortable with. So it would kind of be weird for us to play a song, stop. I feel like we kind of like lose the momentum. You know, it helps us really like put 4 songs together and move it along that way. It's really hard to improvise live so much that, you know, it can really go well for you or really fail. So like really early on, we wanted to find a way that was like the best of both worlds, writing songs just because we like to write melodies and that kind of thing, and improvisation, and so it seems like the best thing to do.
Right. Is the stuff that you're working on now, is it going to be similar to what we'll see live?
Yeah.
And does it have that kind of electronic feel to it?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how what other people say. I mean, to us it's electronic because the process is sort of electronic, but a lot of the samples we use, you know, it's sort of like for Noah's record, which we all found inspiring in terms of what he could do with samples, you know, but for this we were trying to sample more like acoustic instruments, so like ourselves playing kind of acoustic things in the practice space. So maybe to someone who doesn't know the process, it might sound a little more like a kind of going back to like a live playing sort of thing, but to us it feels, I think, more electronic. So, but it's hard for me to have the perspective on how somebody outside the process will think it sounds. But I mean, it's playing them live is kind of part of the process in a way. You know, by the end of a tour, you sort of know what doesn't work in a song, or you're sort of like, that part drags, or it's just not fun to play, it's not interesting, you know, or it feels too much like the first part of the song, like just didn't, like it never seemed to pick up to another level. So that's sort of another reason we sort of like doing the unheard stuff live, you know, or unrecorded stuff live before we record it. Because you know, if you record a part like right after you write it, you might be stoked on it that day, and then a few months later be like, could have done better, you know. So it gives you time to sort of make those decisions and be critical of yourself.
Now, could you tell me where you guys live now, each of you?
I live in New York, Manhattan. I've kind of lived there for 10 years, and I live in Chinatown, but I'm thinking about moving from Chinatown.
I'm in DC.
I live in Lisbon in Portugal.
Okay. How does that work for you in terms of making new music?
Works pretty well for us. We definitely have to organize long periods of our year out, far in advance, just to be able to make sure we have time to write and time to practice. And I'm married, and Noah's married and has a kid, and Brian has been in a pretty intense relationship for a long time, so we like to have time for, to be with our girlfriend.
Do you guys like swap ideas online?
Yeah, I mean, sort of.
It's gonna go somewhere.
We definitely, lately in the past year, working on this new stuff, definitely have written some very long emails to each other about ideas, and it's the first time we've really sent demos and stuff to each other and sent sounds and just have moved the process along that way, and it's worked really well, I think.
And you guys working on a film or like a visual album?
Yeah, it's been kind of about 2 years in the making now. We guess we were approached by Plexifilm, this company that does a lot of documentaries and different movies on music and that kind of thing, to do a tour documentary or more of like a live music film. And I guess it just at the time didn't really seem that interesting to us, and we're a little bit uncomfortable like having camera people around all the time, and having this like tour documentary. We like to just kind of be with our small group and stuff, so it wasn't that cool of an idea to us, but we were like, what if we try and do something a little bit more, our style or more visual or something like that. So we talked to our friend Danny Perez, who did our Who Could Win a Rabbit video.
Oh yeah, sure.
And just brought up some ideas. He came on a tour with us, and we kind of just shot some ideas at him for different little scenarios, I guess is what I would call them, that we would like to film or create. And they kind of just come from us joking around in the practice space,
And he had a lot of ideas of his own.
Yeah,
as well.
just getting inspired by visual films, art films, or we all watch a lot of movies and horror films and that kind of thing. So we went up to to this castle. It sounds weird, but it wasn't. I guess it was just this castle that Danny's friend's father lives in.
He built it.
Built it, yeah. And they have tours there and stuff, but it was pretty amazing. But we filmed maybe 4 or 5 different scenarios up there, and then Noah and Brian filmed another scenario in Pennsylvania or something.
Pennsylvania.
And Danny's just been editing it basically for 2 years, and we've been coming up with musical ideas, and now finally we're actually starting to sequence it all and lay it all out. So
And ultimately it'll be a DVD.
yeah. And it'll be, like I said, kind of like a visual record. I guess we wanted it to be the most collaborative thing possible. We didn't really want him to create this movie that we would score, but then at the same time we didn't really want to make music and just have it become this music video kind of situation. Right. So I guess it's trying to find the best of both worlds.
So you guys acting in it, sort of?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't give so much away about it. There's definitely like a fantasy element to it. So.
Wow, it's hard to visualize, but it sounds interesting. Who are you guys interested in seeing this weekend?
Flea Foxes.
Sounding good.
Yeah, it seemed pretty good.
Atlas Sound, I guess. We're not going to be able to stick around tomorrow because we have to go play in Toronto.
Yeah, I was excited to see Boris tomorrow. If we had stayed. And
anybody you're interested in, Noah?
No age, but I don't know if we're really going to be able to see them because I think we got it set up.
All right, thanks guys. Really appreciate talking to you. And
it's crazy. They're playing the same song as they were at the beginning of the night. Sorry, do we need to do that again now?